you are starting off as a newbie, you are trained, you are mentored, now getting to integrate and settle into the ecosystem. That path there was always a bit of difficulty there. And that made us conceive the idea basically of the Tech Revolution Africa conference, right? Which we had the first edition early this year, January 31st and 1st of February. And what that conference did basically was bring the next generation of emerging talents in close proximity with leadership. And so for the conference, which we had at Oriental Hotel Lagos, we brought together some of the biggest names in technology in Nigeria and Africa. We brought together some of the biggest companies as well, brought leaders of these companies, C-suite executives, persons who have been driving innovation across different sectors, right, of our tech ecosystem for 10, 15, 20 years. And we brought them together into our space for 2 days. On the other end of the spectrum, we brought in talents, we brought in startups, we brought in young entry, early stage founders, right? And what that conference achieved basically was by bringing these two sets of persons together. There was a lot of conversations, there was a lot of knowledge sharing and transfer. One of the joys for me personally, which I like talking about, was, for example, seeing the CMO and co-founder of Piggyvest, Josh Chibueze, as he walked through our halls and walked through our hallways, seeing people recognizing him, young professionals, tech professionals or talents, and being able to walk up to him, access him, and pitch themselves, right? And amongst several benefits, people were able to land jobs, deals were closed, and a lot of other amazing testimonials basically we got from the conference. Lest I forget, it was headline sponsored by MTN. Also, just referring to the scale of what we did now, but that's not where it stops. Moving on from the success of that, we are now going to and planning towards the second edition, the next edition, which is going to be 10x bigger than what we have done. And so for the first edition, for example, we used Oriental Hotel in Lagos, for those of us who are familiar with Lagos. But for this next edition, we're moving to Landmark. It's one of the biggest venues in the States. And it's also going to be 2 days. And we're looking to, from 1,005 plus, 2,000 persons in the first edition, we're looking at 5,000 plus persons. And again, like I said, we're going a lot bigger, bigger involvement from companies in the ecosystem, bigger speakers, much bigger sessions, much bigger value basically also shared. The conference is themed The Big Bold Step, right? And which you can see on the screen. And what that refers to is we want to go beyond conversations, and we want to stimulate action from all ends of the spectrum. Action from your end as a professional, right? Coming in, you would be exposed and accessing a lot of critical sessions from leaders, decision makers, investors, enterprise, company CEOs, startup founders who have raised funds, some of them who have exited, government representatives, both from the Lagos state government as well as the federal government. And so we want to spur you to take critical decisions from the knowledge you gather, from the interactions, from the networking, right? We want to also basically spur startup founders. I don't know if we have startup founders on this call currently. If you have been looking for investments, looking for a place to access VCs, right, or persons who lead these VC companies who have invested tens of millions of dollars in the ecosystem, this is going to be the right conference for you as well. And so, irrespective of where you are, whether you're a professional or you're a founder looking for investment or deals, or you're looking to land your next tech role, we are going to have over 100 plus companies in the room, leaders from those companies, decision makers, and more. And so this is the right place for you to be. Guess what? The conference is holding in the first month of the year. And so if you're looking to start like 2026 with a bank, then you have basically to get around. If you look on my screen, these are some speakers basically from the first edition. The Chief Information Officer of MTN, Shoyinka Shoyinke, that's Josh Chibueze, who I'd mentioned before. And below there, you can see Mustafa Otaru, who was Chief Product Officer of Sterling Bank, as well as Deepo, who was the VP Technology for Kuda. Like I said, 5,000 plus speakers, 5,000 plus attendees, 80 speakers. and a lot more as well, right? So this deck will be shared basically with the community, so you can go over the text. These are different content tracks we will be focusing on during the conference. I think there's even more, and so this needs to be updated, but we'll be touching all of the critical um, areas and sectors of our economy, which, and conversations will revolve around how we can drive the next level of innovation and growth as well. So in the conference, you get to do a lot of networking. A lot of what I like to say is that a lot of the names we hear on TV or we see across like global events and more will be present in person. And so it's possible for you to look at the speaker and say, I'd like to meet this guy. And then you get your ticket and then you prepare and you prepare your pitch, and all that. And so there'll be a lot of opportunities to network. We'll have a lot of product showcases, a lot of exhibitions, a lot of masterclasses, experience centers, and more. Our headline sponsor again for 2026, and finally, I'm wrapping up now because of time. Our headline sponsor again is MTN. MTN did the first edition, and they're back again for the next one. It shows that we're doing something right. And so, what I'm saying in summary is, this is an official invite for everyone on the call to be a part of this conference and start 2026 with a bang. I think later towards the end of the session, there's going to be more details around like tickets and some of our special offers and promos. We have Black Friday coming. I'm sure most of us know what Black Friday is, and so we have something really special for everyone. I think that's probably going to be shared towards the end. But I'm encouraging you to take that big bold step and be a part of the Tech Revolution Africa conference in 2026. Thank you. Dara, how did I do with time?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Larry. Okay. That was very good. It was detailed at the same time. It was very concise. Thank you very much. So we have some very special people in our midst who are going to be our guest speakers, and they basically will be giving us a feel of what the event would look like, a feel of something we could anticipate towards the event. We have Elizabeth Ogunseye on the call. I'm going to quickly introduce Elizabeth. Elizabeth Ogunseye is a product and lifecycle marketing professional, shaping how fintech and digital brands connect with customers across Africa. She has a decade of experience spanning product marketing, brand strategy, customer lifecycle growth. She has built and led campaigns combining data, creativity, and purpose. Elizabeth has worked with leading organizations across banking, health tech, digital commerce, helping transform ideas into scalable products and meaningful customer experience. She is very passionate about marketing to drive financial inclusion and believes in mentoring the next generation of African marketers. Please put your virtual hands together and join me in welcoming Elizabeth upstage. Hi, Elizabeth. Good evening. How are you doing today?
Hi, good evening. I'm very well. How are you doing also?
I'm doing well. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Great. So to quickly introduce our second speaker, we have David Ogebe. David, I really hope I'm not murdering your surname at the moment. If I am, please have mercy on me. So we have David on the call. David is an entrepreneur. He's a business leader. He's also the co-founder of Tech Revolution Africa. And his vision is to multiply skill, talent, resources, and wealth. He led the consortium partnership between HOH, the company he founded, and the World Bank. I think that's really big. Currently, he's leading the advocacy of the brightest innovators, startups, and emerging tech talents in Africa through Tech Revolution Africa. And they're partnering with the 1% leading tech companies in Africa. David, so glad to have you here. Please correct me. Let's correct us. How do you pronounce your surname?
Yeah, so the name is Ogebe. You know, we're Nigerians, we have to open our mouth when we are pronouncing those names. Ogebe.
Interesting. Where are you from, David?
Yeah, I'm from Benue State, the Idoma speaking part of Benue State, the two-faced Terry G type people, David Mark.
Ogebe.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thanks for bearing with me. Elizabeth, thank you as well. Thank you for joining us. So I'm just going to start with you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, would you like to walk us through your journey as product marketing, product and lifecycle marketing leader? What got you into this? How did you get to the point you are at the moment?
I just decided that maybe I won't allow you go late again.
Hi Vivian, someone's mic is on. Could you help us mute them? Thank you. Okay, great. Elizabeth, did you get my question? Would you like me to take it?
I did. Good evening, everybody. I would say my journey has been quite a roller coaster. That's what I'll call it, because I went from being a social media manager in 2015-ish, then finding my call. That's why I call it, because the truth is, as I progress in my career, I realized that the things that push me is the customers. I keep saying that, oh, this is what my customer need at this journey. So it looks like I'm interested in this thing. So the way I was able to know that I love product marketing, because I started from social media to content to email. I went into full digital marketing. I went into growth. I did both growth marketing and product marketing before I realized that I think I prefer to be in product than to be in growth. So to me, it was more of the love I have for my customers, how passionate I am how passionate I am when I'm talking about my customers, whatever it is. Like, even if it's not my product and I am somewhere and someone is talking about their customer in a way that I feel like, these people are the people that you're supposed to be talking, they're supposed to be pampering. So that's how I was able to find myself in this space. And I think that's how I've been able to move. I think it's just my love for customers pretty much. And that's how I've been in this space. So I don't know if that answered your question.
It does. Thank you very much. And I think the amazing thing about having a marketing professional on the call today is that we're going to be digging into how AI basically simplifies and helps you generate revenue. Not just focusing on sales, but also marketing and revenue roles in general. Over to you, David. Would you like to give us some context about your career and how you got into the level you're at the moment?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I think one of the most popular questions I get asked these days is how I actually transitioned from engineering. I'm a trained electronic engineer to entrepreneurship, business, partnerships, and all of that stuff. And I would say, first of all, what even led me to engineering, to study engineering, was technology in the first place. I was misinformed and I went head on to study engineering. Somewhere along the line, I had to switch. I mean, engineering got boring for me and I needed some form of action and excitement. And so I resigned with my two eyes opened, went into a business, founded a business. And once you start a business, you know what the drill is. You have to start making revenue. You have to start fostering partnerships. You have to start making sales for the business to survive. I saw a meme today. 3 weeks after a man founded a business, he put on his suit and he went to look for a job. It's not easy being an entrepreneur, So I, through the process, had to learn how to build relationships, form partnerships, which I think I'm quite good at, and then start driving sales and revenue in my organization. I would say one of the highlights for me was when the opportunity came to partner with the federal government and the World Bank, companies like Arik Air, so Pan-African Towers, MTN. Those were opportunities that gave me the room to explore some very critical sales and partnership skills, right? And I leveraged that, particularly in the partnership with the World Bank, which of course was a very rigorous process, but I led my company to achieving that. And for me, it's just been, partnerships, business development, which is one of the critical roles a CEO plays in an organization. So that's just an abridged version of the story. I mean, I will maybe write it in a book someday for a lot of people to read. Yeah.
That's very impressive. Thanks again, David. So over to you, Elizabeth. From a marketing perspective, or from your perspective, right? How is AI shaping or reshaping the way marketing and sales teams identify the right buyers, especially from the early stages?
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I would say from a product marketing perspective, as a product marketer, really, I think about it from the customer backwards. When I'm thinking about my customer, I'm thinking about it from backwards. I'm thinking, how is AI helping us identify the intent of these customers? How is AI helping us know their signals? You know, things that we couldn't see before initially, from the beginning of their journey to when they become my customer. How is AI helping me see these things? And most times we are not able to see these things before, but because we use AI to identify these things, it's very, very easy for us. And let me just give you a concrete example. I would say that we were launching a product recently, and we did like a survey to see which model we should model. I don't know if that's correct, but we thought, okay, should we go the traditional route? Should we go the modern banking fintech route? And we realized that the traditional route actually led the score. And this was because we realized that we were able to see what's it called, the data traditionally, based on using some AI tool. For example, again, we did like an Afrigo debit card launch at Sterling Bank, and we used AI to analyze our website behavior. Like, it was so interesting, the patterns. We combined it with our social media engagements. AI was able to help us identify prospects who visited each of the pages we had during that time. We were able to engage with customer testimonials, Instagram, from every of our social media platform at that time, and we were able to use AI during this time. So for me, I would say that AI does not really tell you who your buyers are. What I've seen it tells me is when they are ready, because that's where I see it as from a different perspective in life cycle. I see it as it won't just tell you that who exactly they are. It will mostly tell you when they are ready to buy from you. So someone might be your perfect ICP, and you are thinking, oh, I found the perfect person to buy from me, to use my product, and that's because you see that they are aware about your page, and you're pushing demo to them, you're pushing a lot of things, FAQ, yada yada. You're pushing it to them because you feel like, oh, they are aware, so definitely they need to buy from me. But that is their premature stage. That is their premature. And trust me, most people do that because they feel like, oh, they've seen it, that these people are interested in buying from them. But the thing most people have failed to realize is that this tool you're using, they are not showing you that these people are your customer in this space. They are telling you when they are ready to buy. That is what you're supposed to be focusing on, because you keep pushing a lot of content to these people's face because you feel like they are aware about your product, they are aware about your service, and you're thinking, oh, next thing is to start pushing for them to buy from me immediately. You're not even thinking about to nurture them. But from experience, I've just realized that AI pretty much has just been able to let me know when my customers are ready to buy and not just tell me who exactly they are. So my recommendation is just majorly always layering listening tools. Meltwater has really helped me, at least from what we've done, especially when we need to know what people are saying about us. I think we tried it during this free transfer thing that we did recently. We were able to know what exactly people are saying. What do we need to transition into? How do we need to go from this place that we are into something else? Do we need to do more? Do we need to add more incentives to what the free transfer that we're doing? Do we need to do this? But most people don't do that. They just feel like once they use AI to check something, let's just move on from it, and that's it. So you keep putting things in your customer's face, and they get tired, and before you know it, they drop off. They're not even ready to buy from you again because they are uninterested. Because initially you don't even know why exactly. You don't even know when they're exactly ready to buy from you. You think that because they are aware, let's go, let me start pushing things to them. So yeah, from my perspective as a product marketing person, that's how I think AI has just reshaped the way we work from our customer journey.
Well, thanks very much, Elizabeth. That was very detailed. I especially like that you mentioned that AI helps us understand customers' behavior earlier on in the process. I think that's really key. Thank you very much again. David, over to you. You mentioned some partnerships, some key partnerships that you've closed. And I think those are very significant with very significant companies across Africa. So how would you say AI is redefining sales perspective across the Tech African ecosystem?
Okay, thank you. Can I be heard? Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Okay, fantastic. So I'll try to be as practical and as relatable as possible, not to speak above our heads, right? So we get proper value from this. And let me start by painting a scenario. And I want to use someone here, Titi Macaulay, right? Let me just paint this scenario. So Titi is about to receive her cousin from Croatia. I know Titi doesn't have a cousin from Croatia. Maybe she does, right? But she's about to receive her cousin from Croatia, and the only description she has of her cousin is the name. So she goes to the airport. Maybe her cousin's name is Annie Macaulay, right? And so she goes to the airport with this placard, you know, waiting to receive Annie Macaulay, and that's the only information she has. So we have a barrage of people coming down, you know, just rolling their boxes, and she's just looking, expecting that an Annie Macaulay sees the placard with her name and says, "Hey, I'm the one, I'm the person," and then they hug and all of that stuff. Versus she gets the information that Annie Macaulay is wearing a green shirt and a denim trouser. She's going to put on a blue hat. She's going to wear yellow glasses. She's going to be dragging a pink box. And then this is her picture. So she has all the information to look out for, right? And then if she sees a man with afro and blue shirt, she knows that or green shirt, she knows that that's not Annie. She sees different people, she knows that's not Annie until she sees the exact description of who she's looking for, right? Now, using that example to paint this scenario, I would say AI has moved sales and partnerships and how we reach out and how we close deals from that guesswork era to precision work. All the tools we use today in lead generation, closing out sales and all of that, they existed before, or probably they never existed. Some of the ones we use popularly just incorporated AI into what we do, and it has created that shift from guesswork. Maybe the clients are here, maybe the partners are here, maybe the audience would like this. Perhaps we should try A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No. Right now, there is precision in what AI has introduced. And there are some arguments, right? I think it's still they're still arguing about it, that there'll be no need for A/B testing, really, especially when it comes to marketing. Should we test whether this product is good or this advert is better? Let's test them in the market. There is going to be that shift to say, hey, we don't need to do this A/B testing again. This is how precise and how specific we need to go to get the right results. And I would say that's what AI has helped us to achieve over the past couple of years, right? Being able to know specifically what we need to do, how we need to do it, when we need to do it to get the right results, especially when it comes to closing deals. So for me, that's like the biggest change, the biggest disruption that AI has brought to sales and partnerships. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Elizabeth, a quick one for you.
Yeah.
Great. So again, you've spoken about how AI influences or AI helps us understand a customer's behavior. How would you say AI is improving personalization of, say, your copies or your outbound messaging from a marketing perspective? How would you say that is being improved using AI? And how are you able to maintain authenticity? Could you speak to that?
Thank you. I think this is where I live when it comes to personalization. I am really a big fan of personalization. As someone that managed both corporate product marketing and personal brands, and even personally, I have my own personal brand. I think about authenticity constantly because the truth is, AI can help you personalize at scale, but you still need human tone. That's why when you see emails like Josh from Piggyvest, Bolt, I think Sam from Bolt or something, Uche from Bolt, things like that, when you see it anywhere, you resonate with it because they have the tone for it. I have a framework I use. I call it AI assistance. Yeah, I call it AI assisted personalization. But I always tell myself that it has to be approved by human, because if you don't approve whatever you're putting out and you just rely on AI, trust me, your tone might not be as exactly as you want it to be. I always tell people, when you're sending emails, you're putting out social media content, I would always know that you have used AI to write it, because sometimes you just know that there are some things that you can't just write because the word is looking very static. What AI does for people is just research. You can use it to research. You can use it to identify personalization variables, maybe the industry. You want to check what PiggyVest is doing, what Carrywise is doing, what Sterling Bank is doing. It can help you suggest like starter pack conversation. What exactly do you share as your interest? But as human, you want to be able to add your own personality and your voice. What voice do you want people to know you as when you are writing something? Say, for instance, the time when I started YouTube in 2017, I remember that I was in a downfall. I was coming from away, and someone literally just said, "Hi guys, it's your girl Cicilizzi," and I was so shy because in my head I'm like, who is that? I wasn't even expecting that someone would recognize me because I just started at that time, and it was so random. But because I had my own personality, I had my own voice, and I had the way I usually just start my YouTube. People probably, and that's where my friends greet me when they see me too. If I did not have that, AI cannot help me add that to whatever it is I'm putting out to people. And same as your email, so same as your social media platforms. And there is this specific process I use when I want to use AI. One thing I start with is I just use it to do research. I'm not trying to use you to write everything I want to send, because I truly know that it won't sound like Elizabeth. I want to ask you to help me write something. For example, instead of saying, when you search for something on AI, it will probably write, there was something I saw on LinkedIn. I noticed my company recently expanded to Ghana. If you for instance look at AI to help you write something. But personally, when I look at something like that, if I want to write it and I see it on AI, I'll probably write, congratulations to Ghana, congratulations on the Ghana expansion. Do you understand? Having launched this, that, the other, I would write it in a way that sounds human. Just writing, I noticed my company recently launched in Ghana, looks like, okay, there is no human tone, there is no personality in this thing you're writing. But imagine having to say those kind of words, like breaking it down, putting something that when people even read it, they understand that it's coming from Elizabeth. They understand that it's coming from whoever it is that is writing, even if it's any brand at all. So the difference for me is just that AI provides the research, and I want people to understand it every time, that it will give you the research you need. But as human, you provide the authenticity. Oh my God, I can't pronounce that word. I mean pronunciation. But yeah, but
this evening.
you are able to be authentic as possible when you use your own tone and not just draft what you're saying on AI and putting it in your email, in your whatever that you're doing. One practical tip I would just mention is that when you want to do something, all you just need to probably do is create a voice guide. Like whatever, if your sales team, your product marketing team, your social media team, what voice guide do you want to use to be recognized with? How do you want people to recognize you when they read your newsletter, when they read your LinkedIn post, when they read your social media post? You know, what are the phrases you want people to see, when, like recognize when they see you? What are the cultural considerations? Because these things are very, very important. There's a brand, I think I would always cite Bolt. Every time people see Bolt, any email from Bolt, especially that Uche from Bolt, when Uche left, I don't know if you saw the social media conversation about it. People knew that the voice changed. Do you understand? If it has been AI just writing for them and there was no human tone in it, you would see that the conversation might be different from whatever it is that you're doing. So always make sure that wherever you use AI to do your research, you are adding your own tone to it. Because trust me, that is how you can get people to find you interesting, find your content interesting, and also look forward to hearing from you, reading from you, and following whatever it is that you're serving to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I think one thing that really resonated with me was the voice guide that you mentioned. I think that's really key. That's something even I will be using moving forward. So you have stressed on how AI helps with research. Some people like to write themselves. They're saying, write myself, edit with AI, or write with AI, review myself, or write and review with AI. What team would you say you fall under, Elizabeth?
Because for efficiency, because trust me, right now, AI helps you do your work quick. It's not like you need to start before, because I started writing as far back as 2014, 2013. I was writing for Opera Mini, and during this period, there was no AI. You have to write, you will sit down and think of what you write, and you have to turn out like maybe 30 article on Opera Mini and all those kind of things. It was really slow to do those things because you need to think. You probably need to go to Nairaland, for instance, to go and check what people are writing about so that you could have your own idea. But right now, you do not need to start doing that so much thought process. You probably just need to go to AI to give it your prompts. But the truth is, I like AI. I use AI, but I still believe that people need to please proofread what they are writing. Like, use your tone in whatever it is that you're writing, because I would always know that you're using AI when you write something. Especially because of the big English that AI uses. Exactly. So I would,
and the patterns as well.
Exactly. It's okay to balance it, but just proofread so that we could actually recognize your tone and it's not looking static, boring, and just there. That's it.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for that one. Over to you, David. So as a co-founder, what AI tools would you say have given the most impact or have made the most impact on your sales team? And it could also even apply to other areas that just simplifies your work life as a co-founder, that we could learn from.
Okay, thank you. So I will try to relate it to something that happened recently in my organization. I mean, the one that I run as Chief Executive Officer HOH. So we wanted to set up, it was, of course, we're scaling, right? We had gotten to the point where we needed to scale and set up a new department. And we had the marketing and the creative unit all in one. We needed a sales dedicated department. And so we started, trying to get the right hires, trying to get the right people. And first of all, you would find experienced people, 5-8 years in sales, that were not hitting the right spot. We had a list of tools that we wanted them to call or to mention during interviews. How do you generate your leads? And they tell you a lot of ERP stuff, stories about how they do this, do that. And so the guys who didn't mention the right tools, of course, didn't make it. And the guys who mentioned some specific tools, you have tools like HubSpot, you have tools like Apollo, you have tools like, even the very basic ones. Please even mention WhatsApp, Meta AI tool. Mention it as a way of generating your copies and all of that stuff. It makes sense better than saying, I just go knock on doors or I use my past alumni. No. Things have changed. Maybe that worked a couple of years back. So specifically, there is Apollo, right? Apollo essentially just helps you generate leads. All right. Now, it's very interesting because just the way you go to ChatGPT and type, hi, my name is David, I want to find out what's going on in Lagos today, and it will tell you, give you an answer. You can go to Apollo and type in a prompt on lead generation, customer pipeline, content creation, copywriting, and all of that. And Apollo can plan your campaign. One of the things Apollo may not be able to do is to set up your budget for the campaign, even though it's still in the test phase, right? It's in the beta testing and the beta phase testing and all of that stuff. But it will get to the point where you can actually start and plan your full campaign on Apollo, include your budget and all of that stuff. And you can start generating insights right there, connect it to several other tools that you want to use. So Apollo is such an essential tool. And one of the interesting things that Lizzie mentioned, I wanted to ask a question or make a point, like, or even an exercise here. If each of us, 27 of us on this call, go to ChatGPT and type the exact same question, right? We most likely will get different results. And the reason is because over time, interactions use these tools, these systems, these large language models, learn your pattern. They learn what you do. They get trained with your data. If you don't like something and you write a prompt to edit it, it learns from that over time, and it tries to do things that suit your style, that suit your perception and all of that stuff. And that's why we get different results. That's exactly how tools like Apollo study the company over time, right? And it could be so specific and precise that if it ran a campaign for you, let's just give an example. You want to launch a new product, a new fintech product into the market. If you run that campaign and you do not give it context for your next campaign, it will pick up the data from your previous campaign and sometimes give you some unprecise results, except to give it the right context. So the point I'm trying to make is tools like that learn your patterns, learn your behaviors, they learn everything you do over time, and they try to be as precise as possible based on the information and based on the data you've given to it over time. So I prefer to use, or I like to use, tools like Apollo for lead generation. It does a lot of other things, right? But lead generation. I would also mention HubSpot, right? So part of sales is a game of numbers, right? One of the things that I find it very interesting that when I was younger as an entrepreneur and I started my business, I didn't used to prospect much. I prospect maybe 3 or 4 clients and I close all 4. And I was really happy, like, oh my God, maybe I have the magic wand. I do it again. I prospect 10, I close all 10. And I'm like, wow, maybe this thing works for me. And so when we began to scale to larger markets, the numbers began to reduce, right? And then I realized that those 4 initial people and 10 initial people that I closed were my friends and my families, they were my close buddies. They were the ones that could not say no to me. When we began to scale to larger markets, this whole story changed, right? So tools like HubSpot help you manage large customer funnels. You prospect 100, you prospect 200, you prospect 1,000. You might get 10% to 12% asking questions. You might close just maybe about 2% of that number, right? HubSpot helps you manage all of that. And then one thing I also would mention is when selecting a tool that will help you in your entire process, I'll recommend a couple of tools because this is one of the problems we find with AI, which is like fragmentation. So I like to use tools that are integrated. So for example, Google Workspace, you can connect your Google Form to your Google Sheet, to your slides. They are all integrated within the same workspace. You can connect it to BigQuery. BigQuery is like the Power BI. I don't know how many of us are familiar with Power BI for data analysis and all of that stuff. So Google BigQuery is like the Power BI for Google, right? You can connect everything within the same space and get meaningful results, right? So if you've not gotten any workspace or tool or AI tool to drive your sales, I would recommend that you go for a tool that you can easily integrate with several other tools. Apollo is one of them, right? Google Workspace is also one of them. Then HubSpot helps you to integrate several other tools seamlessly, right? But we might talk about it much later, which of course will bother around budgeting and all of that stuff. But if I want to give my top 3 based on recommendation, Apollo, HubSpot, and then personally, it's not, it may not be the most popular opinion. There is Google Workspace that I really love, right? It might be different for some other people. I hope there's nobody from Microsoft here. Okay, let me just save this before they'll complain.
All right, thank you very much, David. I think I especially like that you mentioned CRMs that have AI embedded in them. So I think a follow-up question for you would be, at the initial, how easy was it for you and for your team to use the AI on this platform? Did you see fast adoption with your team? Was it even easy for you yourself? And if there were challenges, what were those challenges?
So I mean, well, we know this truth. The one that was quite easy for everybody in the world to pick up is ChatGPT, right? But the moment you begin to, or what's Gemini, name them the generative, of course, AI stuff. But when you start talking about tools that you incorporate into your daily process, now that became, it was a challenge. It was, even up till now, we are battling. It's like, when somebody is on a drug, on drug abuse, for some time he's okay, and for some time he'll relapse. So we'll rejig, everybody come, we need to adopt this tool. This is the best tool in the world. Let's use it. After a while, everybody's happy doing it. Then over time, everyone goes back to their old ways of doing things, right? Backslides and everything. So it's quite difficult to get the team most of the time to adopt new tools. It's usually a culture thing. And rather than do it from a point of adoption, we do it from a culture-based perspective. We try to ingrain it into our core values. So we ingrain it into our core values and start rejigging it from there so that everybody acclimatizes to it. So I guess it's the same adoption of tools in most organizations. When I discuss a couple of friends in different organizations, it's almost the same thing. But over time, I believe it will get better.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Thanks again, David. So, Elizabeth, over to you. How would you say AI is driving predictions to support retention and especially upselling as well? So, retention, cross-selling, upselling. How has AI practically been able to help you drive those?
I would say that AI-driven retention probably transform retention and upsell from probably a reactive or proactive point of view. I mean, it could be like this. Instead of realizing that your customers churned after they are gone, or you're probably missing an upsell. I would like to set an example. It's Sterling, but I mean, is confidential. But at this point, I feel like AI help us to just act right at every moment. And for retention, it's easy to predict your churn before it happens. We use Mixpanel. On Mixpanel, we're able to know, active usage at a point. We also on Netcore. Netcore is like a CRM too. We're able to see that, okay, these are like the frequent users. They started this month. They didn't start next month. Okay, we need to reach out to them, probably phone call, email. Okay, these people have been here. They're coming back. Okay, maybe they did not do a certain transaction this month. They are going. So, but pretty much AI just helps you to analyze hundreds of signals. And these things, you cannot track them manually. I mean, the time when we couldn't pay for most of these tools, at least when we started doing those things, then we were not able to know what is happening with our customers in terms of retention. We just know that people are not staying, and the ones that are staying, they are probably not doing as much as they did at their first onboarding. But with AI, you're able to know their login frequency. You're able to know the features they are using mostly. You're able to know the features they're not even using, so that you can know if in the next sprint you want to remove those features, or you guys want to see how you can, enhance it and all of that. So, but pretty much it just helps you to, create like a churn risk score. Yeah, let me put it that way, because when you're able to know all of this analysis and you are monitoring your users or your customers at every stage of whatever interaction they are having on your platform, this helps you make informed decision, pretty much. And the framework I use personally is I segment my churn risk into 3 buckets. I started that when I was in, I think, Reliance. Yeah, I think Reliance helped me, really know about retention, because as what's it called, HMOs, I realized that people come in the first month, and the second month is like they are not coming back. They probably referred someone. They did not come back the next month. They came back the next month. I was able to know much about customer churning. And the three things I was able to start dividing my churn or retention bucket into is high risk in the next 30 days. If what's it called? In the next 13 days, if I notice any high risk, I make sure that I immediately am having an intervention. If I'm speaking to the customer success guys to quickly help me, call you, probably send an email, push notification, personalized push notification, personalized in-app what's it called? In-app banner. In Sterling, I call the account managers. Please, can you guys call this customer? This is what's happening. Relationship manager, I quickly do as much as I can do. And this is because AI tells me they are at risk. Using platform CRMs like Mixpanel, Netcall. Right now, I'm even using More Engage. I haven't really used it well that much, but because I'm using these tools, I'm able to analyze these people. I also have the medium risk, 30 to 90 days. If after 30 to 90 days, I'm not seeing that you're doing something, or I've seen that you've not really been active as much as you should be, or you're not even active after your first month, and in 30 to 90 days, you've not been doing anything, I quickly see how I can, do like an automated re-engagement campaign. I probably speak to my boss. Okay, what do we need to do to these guys? What exactly are they saying? Are there any issues? Are there any issues they are facing? Once I speak to the call center guys, I'm able to know what exactly. And the reason we're able to know all of these things is because of AI. I mean, I know vividly when I started, like the time when I started working, we didn't have some of these tools. And it was just like, you have to manually see what people are saying. You have to manually know what people are saying. But with the help of AI, I'm able to, see these customers at each time, they become a risk to my brand. And there is also the low risk guys. I just start to do nurturing campaign. This is just to keep them engaged, identify expansion opportunities. How do I expand to these people? What are the things I can actually sell to them? And sometimes I just do like an upsell. I probably go to product like Double, go to product like Switch by Sterling, go to this product to see how they can also sell, do like a upsell, we can just do these things together. And I also think for me, it's just the insights majorly in this is that AI has just shown me that when my customer is at risk, I'm able to quickly see how I can proactively engage them. And if after 90 days, 100 days, you're not coming back, I probably sometimes feel like I've lost you because I've engaged you with several things, but I'm still able to use AI to know that these guys are not coming back again. There is absolutely no reason to waste my money to do anything else other than, probably just do frequent email. And I know that very soon they will unsubscribe and not, come back to my product again. So, but really, just AI just helps me to identify any signal at all, whether it is. So this just helps me with my retention, because retention is one of the key metrics in product marketing. If you're not looking at how to retain your customers and they're just coming in and maybe you are getting plenty downloads and their downloads is not matching your active users month on month, week on week, trust me, you're probably just doing anything. But with AI, I'm able to identify every customer at each of these risk buckets that I have.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. That was very detailed. I mean, breaking down your retention and upselling strategies. Thank you for that. I can see, okay, Rachel asking a question about the tools. Rachel, not to worry, we'll get this across to you, as well as every member on this call. Okay, so on to David. I can see that on this call, we have a wide range of attendees, and some of our attendees are actually very senior people in the industry. So I think this might also be very helpful for them. How is AI helping you improve your sales forecasting and pipeline? How is it helping you get accuracy when it comes to forecasting for your revenue team?
Okay, so when it comes to revenue forecasting and the use of AI for our teams, I will say first, it starts from the available data, right? Being able to plug in the available data we have. Let's give an example. So if, for example, we make a revenue of 100 million in a particular fiscal year, right? We are able to gather that data using our CRM system. We're able to plug it in, and then we're able to effectively project, right, using specifics. Now, one of the ways we go about this is using the Power BI, right? We did that recently. We did that recently for one of our projects. We're able to effectively see behaviors and patterns. Now, I'll give you an example of how it was broken down specifically. So we're able to track to minute details, right? The specific payment patterns, the specific percentages, the specific times that these payments were made, right? We're able to track expenses, and there's using the analysis, of course, the data analysis team was able to predict what the forecast will be. Now, there are specific things that we looked out for: buying behaviors, buying times. There's something I wanted to mention also. So in terms of prospecting, I'll give you a typical example. You send an email, you ask a partner for a meeting, or you send a proposal. In the past, right, sometimes you forget to follow up. Sales, being able to close up a sale has to do a lot with follow-up, and that's something that many teams need to understand. You can initiate, you can prospect to 500, 1,000 people, and you tick it on your sheet. Oh, I've reached out to these people. But most of the times, people forget that your matter is not their burning, it's not their business, it's not right in front of them, right? Sometimes it's none of their business. And so your ability to follow up effectively is yet another thing. And we all know this on this call. It wasn't existing before, but very recently, you see that response, that prompt that Gmail will give to you to say, this message is like 5 days old. You need to send a follow-up. How many of us recall or saw that maybe 5 years ago? Was that existing 5 years ago? No, it wasn't. Yeah, it's now a new feature. So you can see when last you followed up, on where you need to follow up. Lizzie said something. There are times when you know you followed up exhaustively and this leads to a dead end. You just keep that prospect aside, or probably just hold on. Sometimes you might follow up to the extent that the prospect just gets tired and says this person is too desperate. But very little trackers like that, those very little details, like the AI prompt that says, send a follow-up email, right? The AI prompt that says, for email marketing, out of 500 emails, out of 1,000 emails you've sent, 300 people have opened this email. 200 people have clicked the link, right? The registration form. And then you're able to track all the way to how it translates to sales. You're able to see where the disconnect happens. You're able to know what to treat. Lizzie will very much remember an incident that happened sometime last week where there was a discrepancy in numbers. So from the website to the checkout, there was a large gap, right? And so we had to start treating it. Now, that wouldn't have been possible without using these tools appropriately. In the past couple of years, it was either non-existent or it was very minimal or expensive. But now it's available, and any team that does not pick up on this will be losing out or leaving money on the table, right? So I would say specifically, those are very little details how our organization is able to pick up the trends, pick up the pace, and zoom in to be able to effectively drive revenues, forecast with these buying patterns and with these buying behaviors. What will sales look like for us in the next 3 months, 6 months? And then you can actually track and know some of the activities that are dead activities, dead weight, right? You've run a campaign, you've used these methodologies, you've tried this out. HubSpot will let you know which of the channels are useless and what you need to cut off almost immediately. Stop spending money or wasting money using that pipeline, right? So I would say these are some of the ways that we've been able to forecast. We've been able to know the channels that have, worked perfectly for us, where we need to even spend more money the following year or the following month, and what we need to just cut off outrightly. I mean, this doesn't work. This is useless. Just keep it out of your entire process. Whereas in the past, maybe 5 years or less, these were non-existent, or probably many people had not adopted it. And one of the things I also want to mention is, just in closing this point, is that teams, because I find it very interesting, especially when I have private sessions with people, right? Teams, especially in this part of the world, need to be able to bring their data correct. The methodology they put in their data, how they get their data, because to be able to effectively use these tools, you need very clean data, right? Sometimes you put in the data and your team says, this thing is not working. Why is it not working, right? What's the problem? Because you have collected it wrongly. You've not fed it to the right information, and so it's malfunctioning, and so your forecast is wrong, right? That same thing happened to us a couple of times. We gave 3 different data analysts to work on a particular sheet, right? One of them came with a forecast, very funny, of times 10. The second person came with a forecast that was below. The other person came with a forecast that was, so we had 3 ranges of estimations that were too far apart. Where was the problem coming from? The data we had collected, right? So we had to go back to the drawing board, clean it up. We have to go back to the drawing board, clean it up, and make sure that our data was correct to be able to get the right results. So I would say those are some of the things that we do. Those are some of the specifics, as little as a Gmail prompt to say, follow up with this email, right? And as much as cleaning up your data and ensuring that when you put it on Power BI, BigQuery, you're able to project effectively.
All right. Thank you, Davey. That was very clear. Back to you, Elizabeth. Okay, great. Elizabeth, how would you say AI-generated content is helping SDR and marketing teams create a more compelling outreach in terms of copy? I'm not just using ChatGPT, in other ways, right? How would you say it's helping marketing and sales teams?
Yeah, thank you. I think I mentioned something like this initially. I think the first or second question, as someone that writes for both B2B, B2C, product marketing, social media, my opinion on this is very, very strong. And I think I already expressed it earlier. Yes, I agree that AI generated contents are really powerful. It's very powerful to start with AI, when you want to do your content research and all of that. But I will keep saying it that whatever you are getting from AI, it needs human editing. If you're not humanizing your content, it cannot be compelling. Like, I would keep saying it every time. And it's very, very simple. You just need to use AI as your assistant, your research assistant. You don't need to use AI as your copy and paste, because that's what AI is meant to do for you. Your AI is your assistant. You get human to edit whatever content you're putting out there, because it's only human that has emotions. AI do not have emotions. They do not have, I mean, yeah, people train AI to what they want it to say for them or how they want to say it. But the truth is, I still think there is still the human emotion part that is just missing when you just copy and paste from AI. No matter how much how much prompts you've given to AI to keep writing for you and make it human, make it friendly, make it youth, make it Nigerian, all those kind of tone. No matter how much you put it, you keep writing it, you still need to have a human being that knows what writing is about and has the emotions to help you edit it. And the place where I think AI generated content excel mostly is maybe the email subject lines. Because I think I've used AI to generate about over 50 subject lines, and there is also a way to predict if it's going to have a good open rate, and I have tested it. Like, I have tested it well, having to tell AI to tell me which of these subject lines is going to give me more clicks, more open rates. and when I test it, it is always true. And when you want to send cold emails, yeah, I think AI is also good in that regard. It's also, I think I've seen people talk about it on LinkedIn. Yeah, I think I've seen people talk about it on LinkedIn. At least those two things, I think that's where I believe strongly when it comes to writing. Those two, especially as a writer, those two is where I think AI strive majorly. And for me, places that has failed for people that I've seen is their social media content. People use AI to just write captions, and when you go there, you're like, okay, you're probably confused because the tone that is there, it probably does not excite you. That's why I always tell people, when you're writing social media content, at least the first few thing that is up there, let it sound like you, like your person, especially if you are building a brand. If you are building a brand and what you just do is copy and paste, it's okay to not even put caption. Honestly, it's okay to not put caption at all. I've seen it, like I've seen many people do that. It's okay not to put a caption than to just copy and paste it from AI without, putting some human emotions, human variation in that space. I've also seen where AI fail in personalizations. There are sometimes when people, I think I saw an active campaign someone set up that I asked to help them fix. And in my head, I'm like, what platform did you use? Say they use Claude. Probably the prompt you used, because I mean, Claude is also very good when it comes to, personal automations. Claude is very, very powerful for it. But AI failed that person because you thought you had set it up, the personalization is perfect, but now things are missing. Your company name is missing. The subject you're using, the signature you use does not even correlate to how the company you're trying to fix something for is. So there are just some discrepancies in these things. And something I also noticed is that a lot of companies, maybe that's why I think there was an interview I went for recently, and you won't believe that they literally told us to write a prompt, AI prompt. So that's the interview. They wanted us to write AI prompts. They wanted to see how we think. They are giving you AI tool to use. All they don't need you to do is write an AI prompt. Okay, this is the problem. This is what we're trying to do. Write an AI prompt to solve it. That's what they're trying. Like, I have never seen that kind of interview before. That's how much I know that AI has now become like a very receptive tool for people. But they just want you to use AI to write a prompt so that they could see how you think as human. And so that's why I just think when you're writing whatever document you're writing, you want to make sure that the human tone is there. Else, when you see it, someone just submitted a document to me recently, someone on my team. And the reason I gave him that document was because I wanted to even start giving him such tasks. And when he submitted it, in my head, I'm like, is it that you didn't read what you just written? Because imagine I myself, I'm like very busy and I just thought, okay, I've given this person the job. Don't worry, he has done it. Let me just send it to my own boss. I would have been very, but when I opened the document and I saw it in my head, I'm like, so you didn't even think to edit it? Because he literally just carried it from wherever AI tool he used, put it in the document. There was no proofreading. There was no attention to detail. Because if you had paid attention to this detail, you would have known how we write in Sterling. You will know the kind of tone you can use to write something, especially the tone to write to executives, because the tone you use to write to each levels is very different. If you're submitting a memo to someone like the CPO, the CMO, the way you're going to write the memo is different from how you're going to write it to me. And I saw it and I'm like, wow, this is how much I think that AI has failed people, and they themselves fail themselves because they don't even proofread it. They don't even edit it to even see that, okay, let me see what I can edit from this thing. Let me twist it to a human word, to a human sentence, to a human tone. But these people just want to copy and paste, and that is it. But if you are able to just do these three things, use your AI as your research assistant, make sure that there's an human there, even if you cannot edit it yourself. give someone to help you edit it. Like, it's okay. It's not, sometimes your brain is tired and you feel like, oh, I can't even think today. I need someone to edit this thing for me. It's okay to give someone to edit it. Just give someone to help you edit it, so that there is a difference in the structure that AI gives you and what you're submitting to whoever it is that you're submitting it to. That's going to be my submission for that.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That was very, very insightful. I think one key thing to take away from this conversation is that AI is here to stay, and there is a right way to use AI. And the people who can use AI the right way are the people who are going to be on top, yeah, quote and unquote.
Yes.
Personalization is also very key, right? And that sets the foundation for my next question to David. So, David, in October, we saw the scandal with Deloitte and the Australian Department of Employment and Workplace Relations, where Deloitte used AI to generate a report, and that was found out, it was discovered. What would you say are ethical concerns that teams, especially sales teams, revenue teams, should be aware of while using AI? What would you say is the right way to use AI, and some clearly wrong ways, to use AI at scale?
So one thing that we need to understand, especially with this part of the world where we find ourselves, is that technology is moving or advancing at a rapid pace, faster than policy, faster than regulations, faster than anyone can think, right? So it's when technology moves 3 steps that policy tries to start catching up. Oh, they've done this. Let's create a policy around it. Before you finish creating that, going around and getting all the stakeholders to create that policy, it would have moved to another level, and then you will just be playing catch up with it. So one of the most obvious ones that we can see, or we know, everybody here knows, is privacy, right? My first recommendation to teams, because AI, large language models, use a lot of data to learn, right? And the consent required for this data to be collected is really critical. I don't know how many of us actually take our time to read terms and conditions, especially when we're in a hurry to use some certain tools. They tell us, you've been looking for a tool to send money to your brother in Canada and you've never found a tool that worked. They tell you this tool works, you just pick it. Yes, I agree. Show me where I can send this money immediately. And then you agree to everything that you don't even know what you've agreed to. Probably they've said after you use this tool for 10 years, you lose all the money in your bank account. You don't even know, you say, I agree. And you just go with the wind like that, right? So teams that are seeking to use AI need to, first of all, know and understand what the data laws are that govern that particular locality, either the country, the continent, or whatever. In Nigeria, we have the NDPR, Nigerian Data Protection Regulatory, whatever it is, right? There's a global. So we need to understand that scaling and using AI tools, we definitely need data. We definitely need to protect, of course, to get our data policy right. We definitely need to not just to use it for the sake of using it. We need to, I don't know how many of us have professional lawyers in our organizations, but we need a legal partner or a lawyer or legal advisor to look through our terms and conditions, privacy policy, and all of that stuff to ensure that we are protected and that we protect our, our customers, our clients, whenever they want to come on board a product to use our AI tools, or whenever even we want to scale up, right? We should all, as a team, we should read the terms and conditions of the tools we want to adopt, right? Read the terms and conditions, know exactly what we are getting into, right? In clear terms before we agree to it. Then another thing I would make mention of is being transparent with customers. So I was interestingly discussing with someone from one of our partner organizations, MTN specifically, and they've recently just developed a tool, an AI chatbot. One of the things we probably have not discussed here is the fact that many people think AI is going to swoop and take many jobs, right? AI is going to make everybody jobless, and then people will be on the streets looking for jobs and all of that stuff. There is that, and there is, the other side of it where you learn and know how to use these tools. But it was telling me something about AI chatbots or AI customer agents being able to answer your call. So you call an MTN call center, and from what I hear him say, almost all the call center agents are going to lose their jobs very soon, right? So you call maybe you have a complaint, you call, the customer care center. The voice picks up and it sounds exactly like Dara. The way Dara will speak, the way she will pause, every single gesture Dara will make, because it probably would have learned the pattern over time, right? Respond to you, ask questions, and it will give you all the details, everything you need to know. But there is something that it does before the conversation is initiated. It tells you that you are having this conversation with an AI bot, right? And that is what the data protection law entails. It does. Always let your customer know that this is an AI chatbot. I don't want to be funky, want to be nice. Oh yeah, do a lot of things and just make it sound human. But we always at some point need to give that caveat. You are interacting with a bot, you're interacting with a chatbot, and for that reason, this, that, this and that. That's a concern, right? Because many people have gotten into scams with AI bots, not knowing and all of that stuff. So it's required that teams always put that condition, that caveat. Then there is another thing that teams should look out for. I'll close with this, I'll wrap up with this, and that is the over automation trap. You want to over automate everything, which is something Lizzie had touched. You want to over automate everything, and then you lose that human touch, right? One of the things that we may have time to talk about here is that AI doesn't understand the African or the Nigerian cultural context. You are sending an email to the chief executive officer of an organization who is also a prince in his local community. The AI gives you a copy, and then you just copy it and paste it, and then you send it, dear sir, find attached, and you go your way. These people, there's some people that are so traditional and literally want to see you greeting and line them in that email. So you have to flood the early part of your emails with all the dobale that is necessary and required. AI doesn't know that. AI doesn't have that context. AI may not be able to do that for you. And if you copy and paste, you'll be wondering, why this guy not responded to my email? What's going on? Is it that no. You need to understand that for now, we have not, all the tools we use are not trained to the Nigerian or the African traditional context, cultural context. So if you want to automate, there are areas that you automate and work very well. There are areas that you have to use your human judgment, your empathy. You have to replace AI responses with critical human relation. There's some things that AI cannot do for you. AI cannot build a relationship with you. AI cannot go out to a conference and network for you, at least not now. Elon Musk is making some AI bots that will serve you at dinners and events, but we're not there yet. So there are things you cannot over-automate any process, or all the processes, I beg your pardon. So please do not over-automate. There are places that you need to step in with your foot. That's the alarm. Okay. And then lastly, right, being able to avoid. So let me give you a practical example. Lizzie has talked about it, but anytime I get to see a sales copy that says, we are not just this, we are this, everybody knows that is AI language. Everybody knows that is LLM language, right? We are not just A, we are B. This is not just A, we are B. And anytime I get to see it, I don't scrap it. I just reword it, at least those parts of the copy. So being able to understand that the outputs can be accurate, but might lose some human type of touch validation is one of the ways that you would, of course, over-automate, and then you lose the essence. So at the end of the pipeline, please ensure that there is a human touch, there's empathy, there's context, and you're able to close the deal. I always recommend, even if you use AI for your entire process from start to finish, you see that final deal closing phase, you cannot use AI for it. Please step in as a human being, close the deal, and make some money to the bank.
All right. Thank you very much, David. We're going to be wrapping up shortly. However, please still stay, especially for those of you who have questions, because we're going to be taking your questions in a bit. My last question for you, Elizabeth. Do you think AI at this time is refined enough to, take over marketing and sales roles? What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, no. I would say
I was
no.
literally expecting your response, but yeah, yes.
I would say no. I'm not going to say too much because I'll just say let's look at what is happening with child tech right now. Do you understand? Or do you want to attacking all of our call agents? We're not using right now. They're bringing back call agents because they realize that AI cannot, replace these people. They are bringing them back already. There is the part where you can have AI do social media content for you, but there has to be someone that is there to be checking your customer at each stage of their journey. When someone comes in, yeah, you can do the automations, you can automate those things, but automations comes, there has to be someone monitoring what these people are saying. Do you understand? So there is lots more than just sending the content to people. There is lots more than just sending content. You can't just send content to people because you onboarded them and then you just leave them at that space. So I do not think that AI can replace, AI can assist marketers, AI can assist roles, but to just replace you, there is a lot of work to be done. Right now, we're supposed to do like a pilot in December. I'm on leave. I cannot even do my leave. AI should go and do my job at this point. Let me see AI do it. Let me see AI do it right now. But the truth is, AI cannot do it because AI will go. AI they cannot say AI to go. I cannot even go on holiday this December now because there's a lot of things to be done. It cannot be done by AI. Trust me. I know. Except they now create the tool tomorrow. When they create the tool, we'll be here. We'll be here to see it. But I do not think so. I do not think so. At least from experience, there's a lot of work to be done, and it cannot be done by AI. At least it can be assisted. Do you get? It can help you do it quick. Instead of sitting down to think of email copy, think of how to, your journey. You can just quickly tell AI to help you create a journey. This is your customer journey. This is what it looks like. I want to create a journey. Most of the time, before I create a journey, I usually use like what's it called? Sometimes I use oh my god, I do it on Figma. I just visualize it on Figma, blah blah blah. But I always tell AI to help me, just break the journey down so that those journeys is going to help me now start saying, okay, content writer, I want you to write content in this manner, in this tone for this piece. AI would not do all of these things now. There has to be a human there that can help, activate all of these things that is supposed to happen. So not to talk too much, but I do not think I do not think it can just go like that. Yeah.
All right, Elizabeth. Your position is well noted. So I think the key thing to take away from your position is that AI can assist, but AI at the moment cannot replace certain roles, especially sales and marketing. I think that's really key. Back to you, David. So the very last question for you. What piece of advice would you give to sales teams that are yet to optimize their processes using AI?
You're yet to optimize your process using AI. So I'm going to use Queen's English to say Nigerian proverb, and I'll let everyone here interpret it in their brain using Nigerian broken English. So you don't tell a blind man that it's raining, right? We all know how it's said in Pidgin. They know they tell blind man, say rain they fall. If you are not adopting or using AI, guess what? You are on a slow death mission. Your team, your organization will definitely die. Why? Because your competitors are out there. They're using it. They are excelling. You're wondering, how are these guys closing these deals? Where are they getting these leads from? How are they closing it faster? One of the things that has happened increasingly in the ecosystem is that how easy is it to get responses now? A copy. You tell your sales team, I want you to come up with a campaign, and they tell you, give me 3 weeks, give me 5 days. It was cool before, but now an AI bot can give you this full campaign and even start running the campaign within hours. So how effective are you getting without the AI? How effective are you getting? I've literally heard some guys say, some traditional old guys, they're in their 50s, 60s. I built this company with a team traditionally. I don't know what this AI thing is. And I've also seen them fold up or struggle or try to adopt AI at some point. So if you're not going to do it, right, your competitors will do it. They'll outsmart you, they'll outwit you, and they'll beat you at the game. You'll become redundant and you'll start adopting it, but that will be late. So sales teams, founders, please, as little as emails, as little as copywriting, and as large as getting, paying for subscriptions. That's something we didn't talk about. Being able to subscribe and paying for these tools that will make your work 10 times faster, more accurate, more predictable, and give you results. You can start adopting them gradually. WhatsApp is one of the quickest go-to tools for every single Nigerian business. You can start from there and scale up to other tools, and then of course ChatGPT is free, and then you can start adopting it gradually. But it's not a question. It's not an if type of. It is a question of necessity. You need to adopt it as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you, David, for that. I think that brings a very good balance to the close. So we've come to the end of today's session. However, there's a Q&A session for members of the audience. The floor is open, and if you'd like to ask questions, please just raise your virtual hands, and then I will bring you up to ask whatever questions you have for our speakers. I think Rachel already has the ball rolling. Rachel says, how do we know when to automate and when not to? Any of the speakers can take the questions, but before we go ahead, if you're not in a place where you can speak, you can also type out your questions. I'll be glad to read them out so that we can answer those questions on the call. So when do you know, when should we automate, when should we not? Elizabeth, would you like to take that question?
Okay, I think it's quite easy, especially if you know your journey, the journey of your customer. For every onboarding, there has to be an automation because you want to welcome them. How you want to welcome them is totally left to you. So for every time somebody has onboarded, they downloaded your app, they signed up, you want to send them a welcome message. After the welcome message, maybe after some time, they are not active. You also want to send them a message. Maybe they did a transaction and you're quite happy about that in the back end. You want to automate a message that praises them for the first transaction, for just patronizing you, for whatever product it is you are selling. So it just depends on your journey. For every journey, especially for new customers, you have to automate something for them. For each time they did not come back, there has to be maybe whatever tool you're using to monitor has not been active in the past 30 days. You want a message to go to those people. Maybe they onboarded in October and today they've not been active. There has to be an automation that is already set up to go to those people. They've onboarded, they've put money in their accounts, and they do not have a card, a debit card. There is an automation already set up for customers in that bucket. So it just depends on what you're doing. What journey are you trying to speak to? You can also send normal message, like normal email, like just one email. But for every customer journey, you want to just set up an automation that speaks to their pain, that speaks to their pain points, that speaks to where they are in your journey that you've set up. But if you don't know the journey of your customer, you probably don't know where to automate. So you don't, but you don't want to do an automation when they are complaining every day on social media. If you are seeing people saying something, or there is a churn, this person has not been online, has not been, active in the last 90 days, and you now automate message to be going to them every day, every day, every day. What are you looking for? The thing you need to do is at least first know why this customer is not active. Because if you're sending automations to me every time, and I'm seeing your message every day, and I know I don't want to patronize you, I will just feel like, why? Last thing, next thing. And trust me, Nigerians, they might not come and say it to your face, but they will go to Twitter. They'll go and call you out straight. They don't have patience. Do you get? So knowing when to and when not to depends on you. Exactly, it depends on you. But you have to know your customer journey. You have to know how what they like, what they don't like, how often are they using your product, so that you can reach out to them. And it's okay, like I said, it's okay to send normal messages, but automations majorly is you can automate during campaigns too. Yes, let's say you want to run a campaign and you want to make sure that maybe the first message, they get the first message that says the offer. You want to make sure that there's another message maybe after 2 days. For those that have not opened your email, let them get this. After 2 days, for those that have opened your email, let them get this. Let them leave that bucket of people that are getting that message. So automation is just a very big one when it comes to life cycle marketing. So, but it depends on how much you know your customer.
Okay, can I just make a little addition to that based on yeah. Okay, so for me, one of the ways that I automate is to look at where tasks or processes are repeated. Yeah. So if processes are repeated, so onboarding is a repeated process. You onboard 1,000 customers today, you send the same message to them. That process needs to be repeated, moving them from bucket to bucket. So if you're able to identify locations, areas in your system, right, that require repeated activity, at least a minimum of 3 times, that system needs to be automated. But when you get to a point where the uniqueness or the similarities are not the same, they're scattered, so behaviors and patterns are different, you can't actually predict what's happening at that point, that is where the human interface needs to step in, right? So if you're able to understand your entire system, identify processes that are repeated and processes that are not really repeated, then you can automate in between and know when to deploy your humans. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that addition, David. So now we're going to take questions from the audience. If you have any question for David or Elizabeth, please do well to raise your virtual hands, and then I'll call you up stage to ask your questions. You can also type your questions. We're going to be closing soon, so we have very limited time. So if you do not want to ask your questions, you can type them, and then, we'll take them. Do we have any questions at all? All right, Precious, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks so much, Elizabeth and David, for this session. So I just wanted to ask this question. Say, for example, we're in a lot of leads are pouring in at the same time. And sometimes some of these leads book the demos, but they don't attend to the demos, right? And of course, we're in the world of AI, but not everyone can afford certain AI. This
Very
process
Precious.
Yes, hello, can you hear me now?
I think I lost you for a bit.
Okay, can you hear me right now?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, thank you. So I was asking, can you refer a tool that helps segregate a wide range of audience based on maybe their state, their life cycle stage, like you just said, or based on their different, their unique factors. So let's say, for example, of course, we run campaign and a pool of leads come in, right, on the marketing side. But then some of these leads on the sales side, they've not, they missed demo dates, or they haven't responded since after their first demo and all of that. So is there a tool you can suggest that would help the marketing, help the sales by maybe segregating all of these people based on, okay, people who haven't attended to their demos, people who haven't responded to their calls, so that, a communication, a specific communication can be sent to these persons, then not the salespeople sending it individually, but the marketing helping to send it as a whole, like automate those messages until they respond. I don't know if my question is clear enough.
Okay, so I would assume I'll make some assumptions, right? If I'm not correct, just let me know. First, okay, Elizabeth just typed Salesforce. I was also going to say Apollo as well, right? It also does that for you. Now, you've clearly mentioned that this is a marketing party, right? Because marketing should be able to understand what's going on and retarget. That's what we call retargeting. These guys didn't show up for demo day. We don't know what's going on. Let's retarget them. Let's get to find out what's going on with them. So that's a marketing thing. I know Apollo does that, right? She also mentioned a couple of them here. Is it markets that I can't remember what I saw there. What do you call it? Fresh Marketer, right? But one thing I also know is, based on my own experience using these tools, it also requires it also requires data, especially if you've worked with previous data from your organization. It can use that same data to retarget and send out this information based on what you've done previously before. If it's your first time of doing it, then you may need to manually do it, segment, retarget. But if you've done it before, it's going to be easier to do it. Or if you want to depend on, because I know some of these information or data that it might use, it wouldn't be, tailored to the Nigerian or African market. Sometimes it might do it wrongly. But if you've done it before, it can use your previous experience, previous work, previous data, and do the retargeting for you. But it's mostly a marketing thing. I think you can use HubSpot to get it done, and some of the tools that Lizzie has also recommended. Salesforce, Fresh Marketer. That's if we understand your context correctly. Lizzie, you might want to weigh in there. Yeah.
No, you're correct. You're totally correct. So that's if we understand the context correctly, sums it up to be sure that what you're saying resonates with what you're saying. So, but you're correct.
Okay, yes. So now, so sorry this question, but does it mean that we have to maybe add a stage in the maybe a stage? For example, we use HubSpot. So we use HubSpot, and what the team does is they go ahead to record the activities. All right. So for example, if they are still in the qualifying stage, they record certain activities there. Okay, this person is marketing qualified, but he has not been responding his call, or he has missed his demo after it was booked and all that. So how best can we extract this data? Do you suggest the marketing can extract those data to say, okay, this group of people missed their demo, these specific persons aren't picking their calls, to target them specifically? Because if this has not been done, something that has not yet been done earlier, such segregation. So what process do you think we should go about with that?
I'm going to leave that to Lizzie, who is the product lifecycle marketing championess.
Oh, please. Oh. So I was going to say that two things. If your prospect do not pick your call and you've reached out to them through email, they are not responding, I will not advise for you to retarget them, because it means you're spending extra money to start going to meet them again. I think what you can do at that time is think of how you can use content marketing to gain their trust again, because it probably means that they've not found any way to trust you to want to go ahead. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So you probably want to create content that shows that you are a thought leader, in especially looking at the channel they saw you from. So you probably want to, see how you can use especially video content to, to gain their trust, to draw them closer. Because the truth is they are probably watching you. They are probably still spying to see if they could, understand you better, know you more, and all of those things. So, but what I'm thinking is, if you're not picking your calls, if you're not checking their emails, they're probably not real, or they do not trust you that much to want to proceed. So, but if you now spend extra money to go and retarget them, you're probably going to waste your money. So I would not advise you, because I'm very particular about my spend. I'm spending money because you probably have showed interest. I think you'll move forward, and I want you to see it again. But I don't waste my money. That's my own. So I just always think of other ways to, draw you closer. And the other way I know very well is using content marketing. So you probably want to leverage more content marketing, do newsletters, LinkedIn content, and all of that to draw them. But outside that, I do not think there is much marketing can do, because marketing cannot go to their house or their office except their business developers. Yeah, business development guys can still, go there physically if they have physical office to talk to them one-on-one, and then close the deal. But outside that, I'm not sure there's much that can be done outside those things I mentioned.
All right,
Thank you very
Precious, I hope your questions have been answered. Okay, so we have one more question from Monday Charity. Monday says, I think both of the speakers have touched on this previously, but I mean, one of the speakers can take this. What are the biggest mistakes sales teams make when introducing AI into the process, and how can we avoid that? David, would you like to take this?
So like you said, we had touched on a couple of them, but maybe if I were to list bullet points, first of all, I would say one is fragmented data, right? So if your data is fragmented systems, fragmented stacks, so you're using HubSpot, you're using Google, you're using Outlook, you're using, different tools, and it's hard to integrate. You wouldn't be able to, of course, integrate your data smoothly that way. So there's fragmentation in tools. There is scattered data, which I talked about, being able to clean up your data for good use. Then there is adoption, right? You should be able to get your team to be able to adopt these tools, adopt the AI tools. There are a long list of things that we need to look out for. I talked about over automation as well, right? So these are some of the key things you need to look at. If we had to drop a list, we would have maybe like 5 or 6 things, not to scare you, but these are the things you need to just keep your eye on, policy and data protection, to ensure that your customers are protected, you are also protected as well. But I would say that when you want to start using or adopting AI in your system, do not start with everything at once. Start small. Start lean, introduce a little bit, integrate, perfect the process, get your team to use it. Scaling is you can scale gradually, right? You don't need to scale all at once. You get to a point that it will be so difficult for you to even understand what is going on in your system. So these are just a few out of a couple of others that the tech ecosystem will bring to us progressively as the landscape keeps changing every single day. Yeah.
Thank you very much, David. Thanks again, Elizabeth. So officially, we're bringing the session to a close. This is just a taste of what, in fact, it's nothing compared to what is going to be happening at the Tech Revolution Africa Conference, which will be happening in January. If you check the chat box, thankfully, there's a 10% discount for members who are on this call and members of our community who are going to be using the community code. So you could copy the community, the discount code, as well as the URL link to get the ticket, so that when you're checking out, you're able to get that and you're able to join the conference. Remember, the conference is bringing top industry players as well as founders and talents as well. So you're going to be meeting a lot of top people in the industry. See you in January, definitely. And David, I can see David, you have your hands up. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say this is coming from Tech Revolution Africa. For members of the community who are able to purchase a ticket right after this meeting, right? A classic ticket up until the end of today, that's midnight. If you buy a classic ticket, we would upgrade you, right, using this coupon code. Yeah. So
interesting.
It's only valid. It's only valid for today up until midnight.
Oh, great. So more for everyone on the call. Please take advantage of that opportunity. Precious, go ahead quickly, and then we'll call it a night. Okay, Precious's hands has been up since. I think that's all. All right, thanks everyone for joining this session. I hope you have an amazing night and an amazing weekend all together. Bye, everyone. See you at Tech Revolution Africa 2026. Bye.